All right. Good evening, everybody. All right. Now, the Idaho 4 case. Now, I don't know, 5 months ago or not on this channel, we were concerned about something in that case. And I was more concerned about the studies that Brian Kohlberger was involved in. And a couple days ago, yesterday or whatever, I seen the video of Crime Circus, I think his name is, Drip Drop. And I listened to his theory or whatever, and he might be right, which we had a feeling of that. Well, this channel and some of the people that were in my chat also thought the same thing and the only reason we were thinking that was because of the studies that he was doing. And he was asking people to contact him that were killers. So is it possible that Bogota, or whatever his name was, the highly decorated military guy that had PSD and all that, or PTS or whatever, and was a trained killer, as Drip Drop said, compliments of Mother Green and the Killing Machine? So is it possible? Hello, Debbie. How you doing? Is it possible that he had help? Meaning it wasn't just him, it was a bunch of people. Now, a lot of people are saying, well, now there's other DNA that has been found in the house. That's true. Two adult males, well, I don't know if they're adults, you can call them adults, and one male or one female. That is not somebody that lives there. So, is it possible? Is it possible that maybe Brian Kohlberger didn't do the murders? Maybe knew about it? Possible. Is it possible he did know this military guy? And this military guy was actually in communications with Brian Kohlberger, like Drop was saying. But we already figured that out months ago, right? Everybody was telling us we're nuts. What does this Reddit thing have to do with anything? Well, because he was communicating with people. He was asking killers to come to him and explain what it is like to kill people. So is it possible that he knew this military guy from years back or whatever? Yeah, it's very possible. I don't know if it's true, but is it possible? Yes. Is it a freak coincidence? Maybe they just met when he was out there in Washington and started going to school, did a study, and the guy just contacted him to be a part of the study. And maybe Brian Kohlberg even knew that he was a military soldier. It's possible. Anything is possible, folks. Anything. Now, like I said, I can explain the knife, the DNA on the knife. Okay, if he did purchase that knife from Amazon and he owned it, and if he turned around and sold it to somebody, then yes, his DNA could be on there, being he was the owner of the knife. But here is the thing that has got him. If Brian Kohlberger was purely innocent, he wouldn't be in jail right now, because he would have spilled the beans he would have said, I know exactly who it was. This is the guy I sold the knife to. Or, hey, it was my knife, but I borrowed it to somebody. I didn't do the killings. Right? He wouldn't be where he's at right now. Right? He would have spilled the beans. And if he did spill the beans, then there's some people saying, well, he could be a witness. That's why he's in jail still and protecting them and all that. Well, if that's the case, then we're looking for 2 more males that were in that house and their DNA is in that house. Okay. Now, it's very well that we seen the killers on the police body cam walk past the camera, or could have been a part of it, a lookout. If Brian Kohlberger was communicating with killers, how many? I don't know. We have no idea how many people he was communicating with. So is it possible what Drip Drop is saying is possible? Yes, very possible. Right? I know it's a lot. I know it's pretty crazy out there, but we said that way before Drip Drop did. That we are more interested. It was like the Delphi case with us, right? Everybody was, aha, we got the guy. No, we don't. We got one guy. What about all the sick pricks that were sharing photos with these guys and using the same accounts with these kitty photos and the drugs and the gang, all that stuff with Delphi, right? What about them? You might have the killer of the Delphi killings, but what about all the junk in between there? Keegan Kline, the photos, kitty photos, the girl, it's bigger than what these people's minds can fathom, right? If you want to go with, okay, we got the killer in Delphi and everything is done, you're stupid. You people are stupid because there's more of these sick pedophile people that they were sharing photos with, right? The whole Keegan Kline, Richard Allen, did they know each other? Did they have burner phones? It's possible. What about the other 20 or 30 people that they were sharing photos with or whatever, right? We don't know. And it goes back to the same thing here with the Kohlberger case. We don't have the evidence. Kohlberger could have been talking to 20 psychos, and they planned this whole thing. Brian Kohlberger could have been innocent, but somehow they got his knife, and he was set up. Possible. If that was the case, Brian would have came clean and said, hey, I didn't kill these 4 people, right? He wouldn't be in the situation he is in if he was totally innocent, folks. Now, you might be able to explain his DNA, just like I did. He purchased the knife. Is it possible he sold the knife to someone or gave it to somebody to use? Hello, Humanimal. I seen your video. The food looked great. Hopefully the weather ain't too bad out there. Where was I? Is it possible he sold that knife? It's very possible. It's very possible he knew about it and gave the knife to somebody. And they did the killings for him, possibly. All this heroin involved, a lot of drugs, beautiful women, these young women, right? We got bushy eyebrow guy at the food truck where one of the girls turned right around and looked at him and said, hey, we wouldn't F you, mister. Right? He seemed kind of upset. Crazy Joe Jabola, the bushy eyebrow guy, right? Had big eyebrows. Remember the big guy? Right? There's a lot of things playing into this. Could it have been more than what we are seeing? Yes. And I would agree with Crime Circus, Drip Drop, that it is possible that Brian Kohlberger was communicating with other people He might not have been the killer, but I don't see that happening, folks. They got too much on him. DNA, phone records, video of his vehicle, numerous videos of other vehicles in that area, leaving that area the same time as Brian Kohlberger's vehicle. What do am I far off? Is anything possible? I believe it is. No, I'm not saying that's what happened, but I do believe it's possible. Humanimal says he wouldn't be described as a athletic build. I don't know. We can't believe anything. We can't. Debbie, Humanimal, we can't believe anything these people are putting out because we don't know if it's truly legit information. It's media. It's YouTube. It's YouTubers. We have already proven media lies. There's fake YouTube channels that look just like a news channel. We've seen in the Delphi case people making videos, photo op photos, just fake videos saying this is the guy, and we've seen this, right? It's a common thing that we're seeing on YouTube, right? We think these people are good people, but literally they're them themselves are mixed up in stuff and creating fake videos or fake information, even fake documents like JLR. Right? I mean, do I agree with Crime Circus? Yes, it's possible that Brian or someone Brian was talking to killed them girls. It's possible. It's possible it was just Brian, right? For him not to have anything to do with it, folks, for him to be a witness, he would have they wouldn't still be talking the way they are with the case. He wouldn't have been in the case. They would have never brought him into court like that, right? If he was a witness to this, the whole thing would have went down differently. He wouldn't be where he's at if he was a witness. You wouldn't see Brian Laundrie or Brian Kohlberger. If he was a witness, he wouldn't have been in the, you wouldn't have seen him, right? If he was totally innocent, had nothing to do with it, and he was just a witness, he'd be in witness protection, and there would be a gag order. He wouldn't be able to talk to anybody. He probably would have left the country or left the area, just so, they would have protected him. And I don't. So I do believe that it is possible. It's very possible, right? I'm thinking anything is possible in a quadruple murder, and maybe more. This is a pattern, folks. This is an MO that is matching other crimes in the areas that these people have been in. Brian Kohlberger and this other guy. So is it possible that he had help? Yes. Very possible. How did they stay underneath the radar? Well, he decorated killer. He was awarded medals, right? They're not going to be looking for a serial killer with an honored military man. And then you're not going to be looking for a serial killer right underneath your nose as training to be a criminology guy. He knew police. There's photos of him with police and cadets. He knew police. He knew the questions to ask to stay one step ahead of them. He knew what they would do, right? He manipulated many people right underneath their nose. And all along, they're saying he has a heroin problem. And that would explain the robberies. That would explain the other murders in that area with the same MO, being stabbed, and stuff stolen as they were sleeping. That fits the MOs, right? So if he's, and I don't know everything, folks. I really don't. I'm just voicing my opinion and my theory, right? That's it. Hello, Tahoe. How you doing? Humanimal says 100% Johnny, the fakers, slick vids. Yeah, manipulating content by design. Yeah, she's right. I mean, I can't say she's wrong. She's right. Right? They're actually tainting the case, right? Trying to get as much corruption or doubt within the public before it goes to trial. That's possible, right? And I do think it's possible that drip drop, but we were onto that a while ago, right? You got to go through everything. That list, everyone didn't think it was it was just a study. He wanted trained killers to come to him so he can interview them, right? So he can find out what it's like, and then probably ask them, just like OJ did. He asked professional Navy SEALs, if you were going to kill somebody, how do you do it? And what did the Navy SEAL tell OJ Simpson? Knife, quiet and fast. And that's how OJ Simpson got his thing, right? He worked being a movie star, and some of the movies he did, he worked with Navy SEALs and Black Ops people. And I believe OJ even said that in one of his videos, that he would ask these guys, what's the fastest way to kill somebody? If you were going to do it, knife. And boom. Oh, it's quiet. You might hear a scream, but you ain't going to hear nothing that sets off gunshot, screaming, someone shooting, right? So I know I'm everywhere right now. My mind's going 240. Forgive me, but I'm not throwing off the table that it was a group of them. And Brian Kohlberger, well, he just drove around, right? Maybe a lookout, maybe waiting for them to give the okay. I don't think so. I think Brian Kohlberger was driving around because he dropped stuff. He forgot it. And once he got home, he knew he was screwed. And then he started driving around looking, backtracking, trying to find it. Or he's that sick of a person where he drove around the house. He wanted to watch the police come. He wanted to watch, like a sicko. He wanted to watch the police show up in the mayhem and chaos. Why? So he could probably blend right in with the audience. Standing there watching as these people are dead and everybody's chaos is happening. It's very possible. Humanimal says BKO doesn't seem like the type of guy to have cronies. He is a loner. Ah, yes, you are right, Humanimal. But we are seeing people on YouTube now saying that they were friends with him or know him through school, and he was nothing like what people are saying, that he had friends. He was a loner, but he had friends and he was nice and everything. But then again, we don't even know if these people are his real friends or just people acting like friends. Why? For YouTube views and subs. Let's have this guy up on my channel tonight. This is Brian Kohlberger's cellmate or babysitter from 1973 or whatever, you know. We don't know, and we won't know the truth until the court date. The court date is where they're going to lay out their cards. We got the DNA. We got all kinds of footage of Brian leaving that area, going to that area, scoping that area out, because they're going to take a bunch of footage, not just from that night. They'll probably go back to see, was he scoping this house out? Was he scoping people out? Right? I still think that this was not his first kill. There's no way you make your first kill a room full of a house full of people and you don't know who's there or what's going on. That's pretty, I'm guessing no, that probably wasn't his first kill. Too risky. It's just too risky, folks. It's way too risky for that to be your first kill, to take on a house that you have no idea who's in it. You don't know the layout or whatever, unless you've been there and you know the layout and you know the people in the house, which now there's evidence showing that they did know Brian. They did know him, and that explains everything. He knew the layout already. He knew the group of people that they hung out with. He knew, he would had to have known who was in the house, right? He probably knew. Now, I could be wrong. I don't know everything. You know who knows everything? God. I'm not God. I'm not the devil. And I don't know, because I wasn't there. I'm going off all these videos, all this documentation. There'd be no case, right? If he was innocent, if they didn't have proof that he was in that house, there would be no case. We wouldn't be here right now. So they got something, folks. And if it ain't from this case, it surely might be from another case. And that's what gets me, is these people ain't opening their minds to realize that it's that easy to jump in a car and drive 6 hours, commit a killing, and be back home. Right? A 12-hour day, 13-hour day, 14-hour day. People work that. Right? I've seen people work 12, 13, 14-hour days. Right? That's nothing. Drive 3-4 hours, commit a murder, turn around, drive back home like nothing happened. And usually these people do stuff like this with profiling people. They never kill in their general area. They always go to the next town or somewhere away, right? They very rarely commit these horrible crimes like this right in their own neighborhoods. I mean, we have seen it before. I lived in Chicago, and we did see that with John Wayne Gacy, right? The clown. That's why I hate clowns. Right? We did see that in that case. And some other ones, right? Excuse me. Let me read what my chat is saying. If he seemed to struggle to fit in at WS, yeah, Big K doesn't seem to like the type of guys to have cronies. He's a loner. Well, you know, there was that witness that said that there was a girl at his apartment one night. But it was only one night, and they never seen her again. FNA, 1 in an octillion chance it's not Brian's. He will have a hard time proving reasonable doubt that it wasn't himself that left the. Yeah, he's going to have to prove it. And here's the thing. Here's the thing, guys. Excuse me. Is if he is that stupid, everyone's saying he's so smart. He's so smart. Is he? Is he really? Is he that smart, folks? Even if he was innocent, he should have ran his mouth. He's not going to get no money if he's innocent. Well, you know, it's all a scam. For what? Money. Money. He knows if he's completely innocent, he's going to have to explain his way out of this. Where'd the DNA come from? How did that knife get in that house? Right? But he ain't going to do that. Why? Because he's this big criminology lawyer person. He's going to do his thing in his court. And he's going to pray to God that he wins. Why? Money. Because then he knows he's going to have millions. Millions. Right? And now you got to play into the factor of his sister being involved in the movie business. Right? Now he's got movies. See, because his sister's an actor. She's pretty beautiful. So now you got movie deal, not including books and everything else. So either way, Brian Kohlberger is going to be rich. You understand? Because everybody underneath the sky is going to want to interview him if he is guilty. And sure, we're already thinking about a movie. Excuse me. But that's a whole nother video. But he's a devious person. Now, anybody in their right mind, if they were innocent, they would have came out and said, hey, listen, that's my knife, but I didn't do the killings. And I got proof. And I sold the knife to somebody. And this is the guy. Or I would have said, hey, I didn't do the killings, but somebody asked me to borrow the knife. Right? We wouldn't be here right now if Brian Kohlberger was completely innocent. They never would have picked him up. They might have picked him up, but they would have questioned him. Do you folks understand that? They would have questioned him. Right? What do I think? I think they were onto him. For a while. Were they? A lot of people, well, people are saying they were watching him. I think they were. I think they were waiting for lab work. DNA. They had them. They had DNA. But they didn't have anyone to compare it to. And when this Idaho 4 thing happened, boom, I think our government finally clicked. Right? They were watching them. Sure. Why? Why didn't they, a lot of people, why didn't they just pull over and arrest it? They didn't have the evidence. He might very well be a serial killer. There might be a group of them that he was communicating with. I know it's crazy. I know a lot of people, this is nuts. It's great. No, there ain't nothing nuts. And there ain't nothing that is impossible when it comes to the devil covering up the evil that he's doing. That's all I can say. Let me get back to my chat. Humanimal says DNA. The layout was already available online. Possibly he had once to the house, but I doubt it, as he is way too, excuse me, for them. When you're 19, 20, 21, 27, 28, 30 is ancient. Humanimal. I'm trying to do a lot. All right. What do you guys think? I can tell you this much. They wouldn't have been looking for him. They wouldn't have been looking for that vehicle. Do you know when this case first happened, there was a video out showing Brian Kohlberger in a white car at an apartment complex with him walking up to his car? And people said, well, that's not Brian. That's not Brian, right? Well, who was it then? Do you see that these people are focused? They have tunnel vision. Their minds are not big enough to expand, to open up, to look at other things in a crime case. Anything is possible. It's possible. Him and his frat buddies, it could have been a bunch of frat guys, right? It could have been a bunch of frat guys. It could have been a military trained, honored, medaled soldier that had PST. Just like Crime Circus Drip Drop is saying, it's possible. I'm not going to call him crazy. Everyone's, he's... No, there's nothing crazy about that theory. We were onto that all the time. I think I did a video 5 months ago or 4 months ago. Before anyone asked, we were asking, could this guy be under, could he have a suit, gloves, right? Because everyone was wondering, how did he get in and out of there without leaving any fingerprints, anything, gloves, latex gloves. Why? Well, we had COVID going on. Plus, how do you get into a house and out of a house without leaving any DNA? Criminal uniforms, criminology stuff. The white little paper uniforms they put on. The latex white thin gloves that you can get right at the dollar store, right? You can get a whole box of them for like $2 at the dollar store. That's how you get into a house and out of a house without leaving any DNA. What else? Hairnet. Which Brian Kohlberger had access to all this, being that he was studying criminology and he was an aide to a professor. So he would have had access to all this stuff. That's probably why they don't have fingerprints, folks. Gloves. And I bet you they find out that they're probably gloves that he got from his school or whatever he was doing, being a professor assistant of criminology and law and everything, right? So is it possible he had help? I'm going to say yes, it is possible. I'm not taking it off the table. Is it possible he was set up? Yes, it is possible he was set up. If he owned that knife and he touched that knife and then gave that knife to someone else, or someone took it from his apartment complex, then yes, it's possible he was set up. But I don't see why he would be driving all around there. After he committed this, I don't see it. You think he would have stayed as far as away from that place? Any smart person that is a trained killer would have known you're not going to go back to the scene of the crime. No matter what, you left there. The job's done. You get in and get out. That's it. If you got to pack your bags and move to another country, that's what you do. You never go back to the job, right? So he's not that smart. I don't see how, right? The only way you go back to the job is if you know there ain't going to be nobody there, right? Then you go back to the job, right? Meaning you did your job where no one knows where the job was done and no one's seen anything. Then you go back to the job. But in a neighborhood like that, college neighborhood, such a big commotion, a big killing like that, any trained person, anything like that, you don't go back to the job. You move on. So he ain't as smart as he thought. Humanimal says, I think or online with people, the way he did about visual snow be writing in a, I'm sorry, I'm kind of far away from the monitor. Hold on. Private, let's say, border with other interest in violent crimes. Yeah, the whole snow vision, right? He let that one girl live because he didn't see her, right? I'm not buying that, right? He walked right past her twice, I think they said. She's seen him perfectly fine. Well, if she's seen him, I imagine he's seen her, right? How do you're that close to somebody and you notice he's got bushy eyebrows in the bill, but he don't see you, right? He wasn't that smart because that was a witness that he left, right? So he wasn't as smart. Either that or he's that crazy where he didn't care if he got caught or not. Why? He might be possessed by Ted Bundy or whatever that guy's name was. He might think that he's going to be a star, right? He's going to be a star. That's how these people get their names, right? Maybe he didn't have the look in the movie business with his sister. Hold on, folks. My tea is ready. I gotta stoop my tea. Hold on a minute. Leave a witness. That's a classic move. People wanting notoriety might do that. He thought he was slick. Yeah, humanimal, they do that. He wanted to be famous. Maybe he was jealous of his sister. Hold on, I gotta make my tea. Okay. My apologies, but I had to get my tea ready. All right, Humanimal says, and to kill like that, he is a psychopath. Yeah. Well, whoever it is, right? I mean, they're saying it ain't Brian Kohlberger, it was someone else. Whoever it was is sick, right? And I'm not taking off of the table what Drip Drop said, right? But we were already onto that. I was interested. If you go back and look at my videos on Kohlberger, I was interested in seeing who was he communicating with. Because now Drip Drop is saying one of the peoples that he was communicating with on Reddit with this research that Brian was doing, that guy Bogota or whatever his name was, a military veteran with PSD or whatever, awarded medals and everything, was communicating with Brian, right, on Reddit. Yes, Humanimal, have a great night. Thank you for stopping in. Hopefully the rain stops where you're at, and hopefully you have a good night. The food looked good that you cooked. I seen your video. It's tea time, Debbie. But yeah, I'm not taking that off of the table. If they came to me and said it was a bunch of people, I'd say, oh, I believe it. right? It's a frat party place, drugs going on, beautiful women. Yeah, I would believe it. You know, if the authorities came to me and said, well, Johnny, we think it's a group of them, I would believe it. Folks, look at the society we live in right now. Okay? These people think it's fun to kill, to rape and pillage, right? To get your name out there as a tough guy. I ain't never seen anything like it. It's a serious problem in America, more than you people will ever know. You're only seeing a tip of the iceberg of this stuff. You ain't seeing the stuff that ain't being reported. So, yeah, it's crazy. Crazy. Yes, I agree. You know, they wouldn't have Brian Kohlberger where he is at today if he didn't have anything to do with the murders. Right? Now, if it's a setup, if the authorities are trying to set him up, if he's maybe he pissed off a cop's kid or something, or pissed a cop off at a bar or something, right? Pissed a bunch of cops off or something, and they set him up. It don't make sense, right? This is a guy training to be a training to solve crimes, talking with the police all the time, right? Could it be a scam? Could it be a scam? They know he's innocent, but they're going to put him up. Why? So after it's all over with, he can sue. He can sue the state, and he can sue probably the school, the college. Big money, right? Either way, we don't know. It's a problem in America. More scamming going on than anything. Wouldn't put it past it. and I'm going to say the same thing with the Kohlberger case, right? Is you all right? You got Brian Kohlberger, okay? Maybe he is innocent. What about the people he was talking about? The sickos that he wanted to talk about that were stone cold murderers, folks. Do you understand the interview that he, or the ad that he put out on Reddit was he wanted to interview people that were stone cold killers, that killed people, that knew what it felt like to kill people. Right? He now all this stuff he supposedly knew, this military vet that was a trained killer of the United States military. Supposedly they were friends or whatever. I don't know. You know, I don't know if that's true, but am I taking it off of the table? Not at all. It's very well possible it was a group of them. Right? More than we know. They might have knew about it. They didn't do the killings, but they knew about it. So, yeah, very possible. And that's it. It's getting late, folks. It is midnight. He's innocent until proven guilty. But when the cards are stacked so high, folks, and you're looking at life in prison, possibly the chair, the electric chair, possibly they're talking. If you ain't the killer, you're talking like a little birdie, right? If I knew I wasn't a killer of something, and they came at me with life in prison and the chair, I don't think I'd be going that easy, right? I think I'd be standing up right there and saying, listen, I didn't have anything to do with this. And whatever Brian Kohlberger situation was, whether he sold the knife or someone borrowed it or whatever, He'd be stupid not to give it up. But then again, if he's that stupid, and then he might be trying to go for the money grab, right? He might be trying to go for the money grab. He knows he's innocent. He's going to go up, get he ain't, you know, they're not going to convict him, whatever. He might pull strings. I don't know. We don't know what kind of connections him or his family has or whatever, right? There's already people coming to his aid on YouTube. Friends popping up that knew him, went to school with him. He's a great guy and everything, right? So we don't know. But we will know as soon as we get into the court dates. Then we will know everything what the government has against Brian Kohlberger, right? They might have DNA from this might just blow up in court. You can't get rid of the house either. We're going to have to take the jurors through it. And then after we're done taking the jurors through it, and you want to tear the house down, then tear it down. But right now, we can't tear that house down because we might be walking these jurors through this house and showing them this is where he came in. This was his first victim. This is where we found the body, and they're going to show photos and they're going to show everything. Look at, folks. Look at, right? This is a size 13 shoe or whatever, right? This is Brian Kohlberger's foot and shoe, right? This is his DNA. This is where he went from this room to this room. He took this path up to this room where he did this and that. They're going to show all this in the courts, right? They're going to dissect everything. Right? It'd be like another O.J. Simpson case, right? Where they go in the house, they show you everything. But we already knew what happened in the O.J. Simpson case before it even went into court. We already knew the gruesome murder scene before it even went into court. I remember that day coming home from work and turning on the TV and everybody's, massive murder at O.J. Simpson's wife's house and everything. And they've shown the camera and blood everywhere, the dog prints and sheets covering bodies. We knew it was a horrible crime scene, right? Blood trickling down the sidewalks and everything. Before it even went into court, we knew the gruesome scene of the O.J. Simpson case. This is a little different. We don't know exactly what it looked like in that house. I've seen videos where they said Brian Kohlberger put people's intestines up on the ceiling fans and stuff, cut them up all up. And, these are the videos that these people are making, right? When you don't know the truth until the court date, then you will know the truth. You'll know exactly what evidence they got, right? And we'll know if there's more charges coming to Brian Kohlberger if he is a serial killer. And I imagine that's what they're doing, running his data, fingerprints, DNA through every single government machine. And they got to wait. They got to go through millions of datas and all kinds of cases and everything. But if it hits on another case, I guarantee you, they'll let them know in court, right? There'll be additional charges, robbery charge, all kinds of stuff, right? We'll see. It's a toss-up. It's a toss-up. We don't know. And we don't know until the court date. Then we will know everything that the government has. Then you might want to cut a deal. There's two things I'm waiting for. If the government says, oh, we got this, and we also got this. If they got both of them, he's going away for a long time, folks. He'd be smart to talk if there was anybody. And here's another thing, folks. When Brian Kohlberger was arrested, the first thing out of his mouth was, did you arrest anyone else in the case? Why would you ask if you arrested anybody else? right? If he's this great a great guy and everything, and all of his friends, oh, he's a great guy, and he's this. So he got busted, and the first thing out of his mouth was, "Did you catch anybody else? Did you arrest anybody else?" Right there, folks. Come on. What do you mean? Did we arrest anybody else? Right? If I was the police, that's what I would be saying. What are you talking about? Did we arrest anybody else? That's just my opinion, folks. So am I taking anything off the table? No, I ain't taking nothing off the table. Like I said, if they come to me and say, this is Santa Claus, he came down on 3 little reindeers and killed all these people and left, and here's the DNA, and here's the photos, and here's the footage of the ringtones and everything. Well, that's Santa Claus, and that's Rudolph and everything, and then that's his DNA, and there's the... All right. And that's what gets me is these people ain't looking bigger. They're not expanding their mind like the Delphi case. All right, you got Richard, right? You got Richard. You got Keegan Kline. What about the people they were sharing photos with? What about their little gang that they had, right? That they were all talking about. Well, it's a gang down there, and they were all selling drugs. What about the connections? What about the hot phones he was selling? What about the people that that they were trading these photos for? Some of these guys sell photos. What about all them people? They stop at the one guy and they just forget about it, right? We got the guy, forget about it. Well, what about the people they were sharing photos to, the sickos that wanted to see these 13 and 14-year-old kids? What about them guys? Well, we got the killer, don't we? No, you get all of them. You go and you pick up all of them. That's the proof you needed. It's a big child kiddie porn ring. You just start wiping people out. Sickos. I don't know. Now, I'm going to go. Well, there's Santa Claus. You mentioned his name one time, and here he comes. He's going to make sure he don't get run through the ringer. I was just using you as a metaphor, Santa Claus. Excuse me. All right. There you folks go. It's midnight. I'm going to drink my sleepy time tea. And I'm going to relax. And, I got security coming in and everything. I got lasers. You got to have this stuff. 2024 is going to be about security, folks. It's all going to be about security and cleaning up our country, right? We can't afford a war. We're not going to war with nobody, but with ourselves in this country, if anything. I'm tired of sending all that money. Here I am living like a bum. And these people are just shelling out, we need more money, Mr. Kramer. No, you ain't getting no more money. I live like this. Can't you people? Do you need 20 houses? Do you folks need 10 mansions? I don't live in a mansion. Why should you? Tired of shipping all this money, weaponry, and technology, and all this food, as we're dying, we're killing ourselves. No, you folks have a great night. Be safe. God bless everybody. Brian Kohlberger is innocent until proven guilty, but when the chips get stacked so high, folks, you can't explain yourself out of it. He can explain the DNA. If he bought that knife and he sold it to somebody, or somebody tried to set him up, they'd had to break into his house or car to get that knife. Did he ever report a missing knife? If he reported a missing knife to the police, well, whoever took the knife did the killings, right? And either tried to set Brian Kohlberger up or just was an idiot and didn't wipe down the knife sheath from when he bought the knife from Brian Kohlberger. Now, a lot of people are saying you can't even use the DNA because that's Brian Kohlberger's dad. Yeah. I'm not an idiot, right? They can tell if it's his dad's DNA or his biological son or something. But if you want to throw his dad into the mix, hell, I got an open mind. It could have been a father-son killing spree. Anything is possible, folks. Do you hear me? Anything is possible. Hell, they're pissed at me because I wanted to bring Kohlberger to Indiana to question him on the Delphi case. Right? He's been known to have family or friends or something out here in Indiana. Who knows? But anyways, right? Everyone, he lives all the way up in Pennsylvania, Indiana. It's a hop, skip, and a jump. In a day, you could be here. From Massachusetts, a day and a half, right? Do a murder and boom, you're gone. Right? Anything's possible. I'm not taking anything off the table. All right, you folks have a great night. I want to thank one of the great mods for showing up tonight, Debbie Fox. Of course, I want to thank Tahoe. I want to thank Humanimal. Check out her channel, folks. She's been doing all this crime stuff and cooking and food and crime and a Delphi case, Kohlberger case, numerous cases. Check out Debbie Fox's channel. She's got the animals on there and succulents and planting. And I want to thank Santa Claus for coming in. And I've been good. I have been good. I'm just letting you know, Santa Claus. I was just using you in a metaphor, Santa Claus. I know you're not the killer, right? I got footage of Brian and cars and everything, and we know it ain't you, Santa Claus. You're all good. Think Tahoe. Who else stopped in? I think someone else stopped in. Humanimal, Tahoe, Debbie Fox. No, I want to thank Kiki Man or whatever, Kiki Man, for stopping in the video earlier. And I know I sound crazy, folks, but I'm one of them people. Anything is possible to me. If you got enough money and you got enough gonads, anything's possible. If you have enough gonads and you're in the right frame of mind, anything is possible, folks. I've seen guys go into a bar and clean it. Literally. One dude take on 20 dudes and stomp the shit out of all of them. Anything is possible if you are in the right frame of mind. Anything is possible. So, yeah, I'm not taking nothing off the table. Now, God bless all you people. Amen to everybody. And don't take anything off the table. Anything is possible. And Brian Kohlberger is innocent till proven guilty. But each day, the guilt chips keep stacking up. And once they get so high, folks, there ain't nothing anyone could do. Got it in to get him, or he is a stone cold killer, and they got him. And anything is possible. Have a great night, folks.